What is up, everyone? Welcome to episode 84 of the Gaming Duo Podcast. I'm Kelvin, your host for this week, and I'm joined by the Chazasaurus Rex himself, filling in for Robert Garcia. Let's welcome this week's co-host, Chazzy from the Side Projekt Podcast. Chazzy, how you doing, bro?
I'm good, dude. I'm good.
Let's go.
People that don't tune into me are probably like, "What the fuck was that?
What just happened, dude? They just like stopped their car and like what?
I'm glad that you introduced me as the Chazasaurus Rex, though. So maybe some people would be like, "Oh, did he just do some sort of dinosaur thing, or what was that?"
Yeah, right. How you doing, bud?
Yeah,
man? How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good, dude. We had a little bit of technical difficulties in the beginning that people aren't going to see, so
Podcast
I'm a little hot and sweaty, but we're making it happen, man. I'm glad to be here, dude, and I'm glad to fill in for Rob. You know, thank God that guy's gone for a little bit. It gives me some time to shine. You know what I mean?
Like we had to kick him out somehow, and this is the perfect way to do it. You know what I mean? We just had to bring
exactly,
you in, so.
man. Exactly.
For those that,
shout out to Rob. I talked to him earlier before we did this, and
did you?
And he gave me his blessing and everything, and I gave him my thanks. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, for those that know, he's in Africa right now. Fucking wild cat over here. So he's legit in Africa. He's legit in Africa.
He's out there, dude. He's riding a lion and everything, man. The dude's really just becoming one with nature altogether.
Becoming one with nature. He's in the homeland. You know what I mean? Like he's just doing his thing. But yeah, so this is great. Thank you for coming in and filling in to Rob's shoes here. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Guys, if you're new to the show, welcome. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. We are the podcast that discusses the latest gaming news each and every Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern Time. If you want to support us, you can definitely do so by heading on over to your streaming platform of choice, Apple, Spotify, or by going on over to thegamingduopod.com. Leave us a review. Let us know how we're doing. You can now also support us on patreon.com/thegamingduo. You'll be able to have access to our exclusive Discord channel, exclusive gear, shout-outs on weekly episodes, and so much more. That's patreon.com/thegamingduo. Chazzy.
Yes.
I want to start off with, what have you been playing this week? What have you been dabbling with?
I was hoping you were going to ask me this, dude. Oh, I'm so ready.
I think I know, because I saw your Instagram, so I want to talk a little bit about that before we start the show.
I am finally playing Spider-Man.
Yes.
Awesome. Finally, dude. It's on PC. I haven't had a PlayStation. I haven't had a PlayStation since PlayStation 2, but that's a whole other conversation. So I'm missing out on a lot of games, but I'm stoked. I'm finally playing it. It's out on PC. I have a gaming PC. I've been waiting for this game. I've dabbled in it very lightly because my brother has a PlayStation, so I played it for a moment on his before. But I didn't want to spoil too much for myself because I wanted to experience it on my own. And I'm stoked to finally have it. I'm not too far in. I've only been playing it for like 2 days or maybe 3 days at most. And I haven't had as much time as I'd like the last couple days. So, but I'm excited. It's absolutely amazing. No pun intended, because it's Spider-Man, but it's absolutely amazing. Everything everybody has said, it's exceeding those expectations. 100%. It's absolutely amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, man, I love that game. That game was came at a right time for me. And I think Miles Morales is going to come out soon as well for PC. So that's another treat for you to kind of look forward to, because that's another game that I think I actually preferred that game over the original Spider-Man that you're playing right now. So.
No way. I actually dabbled in that too. I only did maybe 2 or 3 missions because my brother has that too.
Oh, he does. Okay.
And and I just checked it out. I just real quick, kind of spoiled a little bit for myself and then just checked it out real quick. But I mean, I've seen stuff online anyway. It's been quite a while. You know what I mean? So I've seen spoilers. I know kind of what happens at the end of Spider-Man. I don't know all the details, but I know like the battle that occurs and stuff like that because I've seen it, unfortunately. But I've done a good job at not getting too much context or too many details. Right. So I'm stoked either way. Are we live right now, by the way?
We're not live. I didn't do this live, but
because I was searching for it because I know you guys do it live sometimes. So I was like, oh, I don't know if they're live. If we're live right now, I'll send it to a few people. But okay, I was just double checking. My bad.
I was like, you know what? I could do this live, but like I'm like a one-man production right now, so I was like, I don't know. I don't want to like mess things up. I just want to like keep it like simple.
No, I feel that.
Clean, you know what I mean?
Because I'm always a one-man production. So
I know.
I feel you, as you saw today.
And I know the struggle that you're going through, because again, today I'm by myself, so I'm going to be doing post editing. I'm going to be doing everything, so it's going to be a struggle. It's going to be something I'm looking forward to. But
Rob's out there hanging out under the Lion King tree,
swinging through fucking vines and shit.
Well, Rob's out here playing Tarzan,
Yeah, right. I definitely enjoyed playing Miles Morales more, only simply because again, I talked a little bit about this way back, like way in the beginning when we first started the podcast, but
Mhm.
I just have this connection with Miles Morales with just because him being like half Puerto Rican and
Right.
half African American, it just kind of vibed
Mhm.
with me a little bit more because he has that cultural background that I have, and
Yeah.
so it just felt more inclined to what what I like, and it
Yeah.
was
A little
nice
bit
to
more
see.
relatable.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
nice to see the cultural background that he has. It was nice to see the relationship that he had with his mother and just like,
Right.
him being in like the New York setting and seeing like Puerto Rican flags, and it just felt it was like a
Yeah.
different feeling for me to play. So it was nice to see. But I'm
Hell
glad
yeah.
you're enjoying Spider-Man. I'm glad that you're
Yeah,
having a blast with
definitely.
it. Definitely still try out Miles Morales, even though you've kind of seen a little bit of spoilery territory there, but I think it's still worth the play for sure.
Oh yeah, I'm going to for sure. I can't wait. And I'm glad that the Spider-Man, the remaster for PC, it comes with all the DLCs too.
Yeah, yeah, for
So
sure.
like I'm stoked for that because I think the main story, I did Google it, saw a couple different things that were said about it though. But I think the main story has about like 20 hours of
Yep.
gameplay in it.
Mhm.
But with the DLC and everything, that adds a total of like 45 hours or something like
Yeah.
that. So I get the full 45 hours right off the bat. Just keep going. I'm stoked, man. I'm stoked.
Definitely a chunky game, so you'll have a lot of gameplay for sure for a
Hell
few
yeah.
weeks or so. But
Hell
dude,
yeah.
we have a lot to talk about. And this is
Yes.
I don't know, for some reason this every time you're on the show, you're a recurring person, you're a recurring guest here. So every
Yeah.
time you come in, it just feels like the right topics show up. You know what I mean? Like we
It
talk.
just fits perfectly, man.
Right, exactly. And we
It
don't
fits.
plan it.
Yeah, it works perfect every time. Even when I had you guys on mine,
Yeah,
that was like the perfect scenario, the perfect
100%.
conversations. And it happens to kind of usually sometimes also be a mix of all the things that we all cover, respectively. Because I do
Exactly.
gaming, film, and cosplay. For those that are maybe tuning in for the first time and don't know, gaming, film, and cosplay is what I cover. And obviously, you guys are the Gaming Duo podcast.
Right.
And oftentimes, when you have it on, we always talk about games for sure.
Sure.
But sometimes it blends with the Marvel world or the DC world or certain things that I do, and we don't plan it to be that way, and it just pans out perfectly, man. Just like with
happens.
Sonic, talking about Sonic the movie, talking about Sonic the game, it just
Right.
worked out, man.
Just like with news number one, Disney and Marvel are giving us they're coming in hot with a gaming showcase. D23 Expo is next month, September 9th, and in it comes its very first Disney and Marvel games showcase. So this is going to be something kind of new territory for Marvel and Disney, which is exciting to
Mhm.
say the least. But D23, are you familiar with D23 Expo? Do you know much about
Yes.
it, or okay?
Yeah, it happens like 15 minutes away from me as
Oh,
well.
that's fucking
So
right. Yeah.
I'm planning on going. I'm planning on going.
Awesome. Nice.
But we'll see because I got a lot of personal things going on
Mhm.
in my life. My father, I'm not going on a big tangent, but my father's going he's moving, so I got to be helping him move
Ah.
right at the end of the month, like beginning of next month, end of this month. So
Mhm.
we're going to be slam doing that. And then I'm actually going on another podcast. It Can't Be Real pod. Shout out to them.
Nice.
And we're meeting in San Diego. They're from the Bay, so I'm driving out to San Diego, and I'm doing that. And everything is occurring like back to back, day after
Yeah.
day after day after day. So, but I'm gonna try to make it to D23 if I can, dude.
So how is that? How does that work? So when you go to another person's podcast that is like you're face to face, I guess, right? Do you bring your own
Mhm.
equipment? Like what do you bring to that other person's
For
podcast, you know?
this one, I am actually. I'm going to bring because they're from the Bay and I'm
Yeah.
in Orange County.
Mhm.
We're all in California,
Mhm.
and we're meeting in San Diego. I don't know what they're doing, but they're going to be there for 4 days. They've got other stuff going on, and they reached
Mm.
out to me. We've been trying to make something happen for a while, just waiting for the right time, the right topic, the right themes.
Sure,
And
sure.
they reached out to me and they said, "Is there any possibility that you'd be willing to drive out to San Diego and come meet us and be on the pod in person?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And they were like flabbergasted, dude. They were like, "What? You're willing to drive?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, dude, I'm not that far away, dude. Like if
Yeah.
it's on a good day, it's like maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours at most. And that gets a little bit rocky, but I'm down, dude. You guys know me. Like I will figure it out and make
Yep.
time for it. You know what I mean? Like
Absolutely,
I
man.
love doing this shit, dude. So I'm going with them. And I did ask them, like, "Is there anything you need me to bring?" They're like, "No, we got it." But then they were like, "Well, actually, like, what do you have? What can you bring?" And I'm like, "I could bring this, I could bring that, I could bring the lighting." And they're like, "Oh, please bring the lighting,"
Yeah.
And they're like, "Are you good?" I'm going to tell the story. I don't care. They're like, "Are you
Yeah.
good with lighting?" I'm like, yeah, I'll bring the lighting. I'm totally good with lighting. I'm totally not satisfied with my lighting techniques at all, dude. You know what I mean? But I'm just going to fake it till I make it, dude.
That's how you do it, man. That's one
But
thing I
I'm
learned about
confident
podcasting.
enough. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So I'm doing that. I'm bringing a couple things, but usually, um, I don't think you usually bring much equipment. You know what I mean? I mean, we're all indie. We all do what we do. You know, we all help each other no matter what. But I went on another pod, and he doesn't even do video. Talk to your neighbor's pod. But I brought my camera because I was doing a photo shoot for him. So I brought my camera and I propped it up and everything, and I did video for him, at least for like social media clips. You know?
Gotcha.
So I did that. But that was me wanting to do it. You know?
Well, you're also a perfectionist, you know what I mean? So you always want
I am,
things
but it's
top
like a
tier.
bad thing though too.
I could definitely be a downfall, 100%.
It is 100%.
So D23, we're gonna already have promises on updates for Marvel's Midnight Suns, Lego Star Wars, Marvel's ensemble game. Which I don't. Do you know anything about Amy Hennings at all?
Dude, I don't. I
Okay.
don't. When I was looking at all this too, I was like, "What?" And I meant to look it up, and I fucking didn't, like, because I was too busy doing all this behind the scenes crap before we went live. So like, I got stuck doing that, and I wasn't able to look it up. I don't. You think that I would? I feel like I should. Like, I feel like I'm a disappointment right now.
No, don't worry about it. I think it's hard to, for me at least, directors and gaming. It's hard to kind of like wrap your head around because you only really think about the game itself and not people behind it. But it's a little bit different, like movies per se. Like you kind of see who is working on those projects more so. But so basically, Amy Hennig, she is the former creative director for Uncharted. So if you played an Uncharted game, you know exactly how she kind of like portrays a lot of those games. So it's exciting to see that she's working on this project, on a project for Marvel, and she's so heavy on story elements, obviously from Uncharted. So I can only imagine how this game is going to turn out. So I'm excited for that. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
For sure.
Marvel's games, Lucasfilm's games, and 20th Century Games are also going to be attending D23. And this will be streamed on YouTube, on social media at 4 p.m. Eastern time. So Chazzy, let's get down to the nitty gritty things here. What do you think is going to happen on this showcase? Marvel, Disney, they're, we're both huge fans of both of them. I think you more so on Marvel side than anything, but what are your hype levels for this right now? And what do you expect from the showcase?
Dude, I'm actually pretty hyped. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I said, I feel like a little bit of a disappointment on for my podcast, for my listeners, for my audience. I feel like I should know a lot more about this, and I don't. But I just been so busy with covering other things. I haven't had the opportunity to cover as many topics and news and like what you guys do. I do the same thing on, you know what I mean. But I've been having a lot of guests, and I've been focusing on my guests lately as opposed to talking about the news. So I'm a little bit behind on certain things. But I do know, and I am stoked for this because I'm guessing that we're going to get Spider-Man 2 news, and I would hope that we're going to get something for Wolverine.
Dude, you literally read the exact questions I was going to ask you. That's perfect. I was going to ask you that. Do you think we're going to see Marvel Spider-Man 2? Do you think we're going to see Wolverine? And they're both Insomniac games. So like that's something that can very well be in the showcase for sure.
Yeah, I'm hoping that as much as I want more for Spider-Man 2, I mean, even though I'm just now getting to it and playing through it, I also personally wouldn't mind if there wasn't that much for Spider-Man 2, but that's a personal thing because I'm just now playing the first one and then waiting for Miles Morales to come to PC. So I'm going to be getting to it, but I'm sure everybody else who's already played it would love to have more Spider-Man 2 stuff. So I think it's kind of inevitable that they're going to show something. But me, and I'm sure a lot of people, I'm way more hyped and interested in seeing something about the Wolverine game because we've got nothing other than that, what, like 15-second or 30-second trailer where it just pans in or pans out, I believe, right? From his back. And then it shows like blood and a bunch of people laying around in the bar setting. And that's all we've got from it. So I would love to get more. And I would love to know something that I want to know is the Wolverine game going to be connected to the Insomniac Spider-Man universe? Is it going to be connected? And is that something that we may see connected within Spider-Man 2? Or is it just going to be connected, if it is connected, later down the line? That's one of my biggest things. And I don't believe we've gotten any information on any connectivity between those franchises.
No, and that's actually really exciting and actually interesting that you say that because I didn't even think about them being connected at all. So that's very interesting if they are. I do know that obviously we know a little bit more about Spider-Man 2, so I think that's going to be coming in first. I think it's coming out next year. We don't have a time frame for Wolverine, and obviously we're just seeing a CGI trailer right now if for those that are watching, but it is a little bit more long, like a little bit more in the way side than Spider-Man 3, Spider-Man 2 per se. So I think
Yeah.
this is gonna be on the longer haul. I'm thinking 2024 at some point, maybe.
Right.
But we'll see. So there's a couple things that Marvel is actually working on that I want to show you,
Mhm.
just to see what they're doing. If I can just pull this up real quick here.
While you're pulling that up, something I
Yeah.
want to say is I think that it would be really cool since they had, for instance, they had the Spider-Man game, right?
Mhm.
Insomniac Spider-Man game.
Yeah.
And then in that game, you get to play as Mary Jane for a moment, right?
Mhm.
You get to play as Miles Morales, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct? I haven't got there yet, but I'm pretty sure I saw that. Is that, you can spoil it for me? I don't care.
In
In
what
the
game?
first one,
In the
in the
first one,
first Spider-Man, do you get to play as Miles Morales in the first Spider-Man?
no, no.
You don't? You
You
don't?
only see him at the very end of the game when you beat it,
Okay.
and it kinda, well, I'm sorry, you see him in the beginning too, but you also see him at
Mhm.
the end that kind of hints at you being able to play as him in the next game, which is Miles Morales.
Oh, okay, okay. So you don't get to play as him, but he's in it.
Correct.
Okay, okay. So either way, he's still in it, and they're making hints that, and then you get to see the Miles Morales game. I wonder if they're going to do any sort of things like that with Spider-Man 2
Mm,
and then also with Wolverine. And
mm.
I mean that for a few different things, such as I wonder if Wolverine could make any sort of appearance in the Spider-Man 2 game before they launch his own game, you know? Or
Interesting.
is there any other characters that could appear in the Spider-Man game that could possibly get a spin-off game in the same vein that Miles Morales did? And thirdly, the same thing with the Wolverine game. If we're playing the Wolverine game, is there any other, I'm certain there's going to be some other mutants, some other X-Men that show up in this game. Is there any opportunity, any chance that we'll see other X-Men, other mutants that could soon become playable in their own game or in a Wolverine 2 or whatever it may be later down the line? Is this going to be something that Insomniac's going to kind of adopt? You know, what they did with Spider-Man and then they gave you a Miles Morales? Could this be
Right.
an ongoing thing with their games, you know, where they hint and then all of a sudden something comes out, even if it's just a short, like, kind of like half game like Miles Morales, right? Which
Right,
was
right.
also cheaper. Wasn't it like $30 or something?
Yeah, it was definitely cheaper than the, Spider-Man,
Yeah.
original.
So like example, you see Gambit or something
Right.
in the Wolverine game, and then you get like a little spin-off $30 Gambit game. You know what I mean? Or something like that. I'm just wondering if there's going to be any sort of that or any sort of connectivity on top of it.
That's very interesting that you say that, man. I think if they do something like that, if Insomniac has this like already planned out schedule of like 2022 and beyond to like 2026, 2027
Yeah.
of like all
Yeah.
these like heavy hitter games with like Bandit, with like the X-Men, like that would
Exactly,
be
dude.
and then for
Yes.
somehow combine them and just kind of have them like
Exactly.
this one game and then eventually have like this Avengers like type of like video game, like that would be
Right.
bonkers, dude.
That's what
Um
I'm saying. Building up, you know, to a future.
Amy's project, though. Amy's project is
Mhm.
an ensemble game, so it's gonna be something of like
Right.
a Fantastic Four, I'm thinking, or an
Yeah.
X-Men game, I'm thinking.
I
Lesser
wouldn't think that, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, no, you're good, you're good, you're good. Go
I
ahead.
wouldn't think that it would be Avengers or at
Okay.
least Avengers centric, only because Crystal Dynamics, I believe, did
Yes.
the Marvel's Avengers game
Yes.
that got very, very, very mixed reviews.
You're right. Yes, 100%. That
I
was
think a little
also
bit.
not a very story it was a story-driven game, but it's more of like a fan like a, what's it called? What's the terminology? Service game? It's like a kind of like
Yeah,
a what's it called? Service type of service game.
yeah, 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 yeah,
But
yeah,
it's not
yeah.
like a full-fledged, like, just story-driven, like, kind of like
Right.
a Guardians of the Galaxy, let's say, right? Like,
Yeah,
that's just a
exactly,
story game.
exactly. So that's the only reason though I say like they did a Marvel's Avengers, so I wouldn't think that this game from Amy would be Avengers centric. Maybe there's
Mhm.
Avengers that appear in it, but
Sure.
I personally wouldn't think that that would be the main focus. But
Right, right.
that's just me guessing.
There's a lot more lesser known teams that I'm not really too familiar with. Maybe you have more information to bring or shed to light. X Force, the Defenders, I know of
Hmm.
Thunderbolt or the
Hmm.
West Coast Avengers.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
maybe that's something that maybe Amy would be kind of tackling and bringing some of like the smaller, lesser known teams to kind of
Right. The
flourish in.
Defenders would be a good one because, for instance, we're playing Spider Man, then you've got Miles Morales, you got Spider Man 2 coming. And it seems that in these games, they are taking a little bit. I mean, there's many different iterations in the comics, of course, but since the MCU is so big
Mm,
and we have Spider Man in the MCU, a lot of people attach that and those thoughts and that idea of what Spider-Man is from the MCU when they think of it now, because it's just so huge.
Right.
But Spider-Man is definitely more of a your neighborhood friendly Spider-Man. He's more street level, which is sidebar for anybody interested in MCU stuff, which is confirmed by Kevin Feige that the Spider-Man moving forward is now a street level hero in the MCU. He's now going to be a street level hero, much like Daredevil, and him and Daredevil in the MCU are going to lead the street level heroes, which is also a point to be made that he said lead the street level heroes. So that means there's going to be more street level heroes. And who could that be? Possibly the Defenders, which is, I'm circling it back into the game here. The Defenders are Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Daredevil himself, and so on, which we got from the Marvel Netflix shows,
which were all
which
canceled.
Some of those, I know, right? But some of those are confirmed to be coming back. Jessica Jones has been spotted in her the actress has been spotted in her classic leather jacket. She's been spotted with the I always forget his name, it's on the tip of my tongue, but the actor who plays Luke Cage, they've been spotted together. And then what's her name? She's in Daredevil. She's in all the Defenders series. She's also in Star Wars. She plays Ahsoka, I believe, in the Mandalorian and everything. Man, what's her name?
I'm
dude,
terrible with names, man. I'm
oh
sorry.
God,
If
I
Robert
know you
was
know her.
here,
He
would probably know.
I know.
Like, it's fucking whatever.
She was at an event and she let it slip that the Punisher's coming back.
Oh,
and then
they knew that.
And then press went all crazy and tried to cover it up, and then she tried to cover it up with a tweet, but she let it slip. So all of those shows are coming back. Anyway, Spider-Man is more of a street level hero. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they also take from the Insomniac Spider-Man games and make a little bit more street level style games with this. And the Defenders would be a great start. Jessica Jones, Daredevil, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and kind of have this street level hero games instead of like crazy huge big budget, defeating Thanos or Galactus or Silver Surfer or any of these things. I'm not saying those things wouldn't be dope, but it would probably also just be easier on a developer side to do a street level hero style game where you can do the things that we're kind of doing in Spider-Man, but with these other characters.
Now you're saying as a big budget title though, or of a more of a smaller scale title? Because it could still be a huge big budget title just with lesser known
yeah, it could still be that. I just meant it would probably take a lot more, like if you were traveling like to space and like doing all of those things in the game, it'd be a lot more intricate. And I was just wondering, I mean, I'm not opposed to any of that. I'm not saying anything negative about it. I was just wondering if they're going to kind of go this route since we've got Spider-Man, Wolverine coming. Like, I wonder if they're going to make like a Defenders or a Thunderbolts instead of like an Avengers or a Fantastic Four, for instance,
So let's look at some of the games that Marvel is already currently working on right now. We know that we have Spider-Man. We know we have Wolverine. There's a Marvel Snap game, which, I mean, it's going to be like a mobile game. So it's like whatever. But there's also going to be Marvel's Midnight Sun, which we already know it's going to be in this showcase and is going to be talked about a little bit. It did get delayed at some point. So now it's going to be second half of 2022. Let's hope. Doubt it. I don't know.
Are you interested in that? Because that's also like a mixture of a
if it's like an XCOM
turn-based tactical and also card game on top of it.
Yeah, the card part of it looks interesting.
And I have mixed feelings about it.
Yeah, when it gets to the XCOM like developers and stuff like that, I'm not a huge like advocate for that. Like, I don't really play and dabble with any of those type of games, but it does look interesting because of the characters. Like, I do like the fact that they have different characters that you don't normally see in like a Marvel game. So that interests me.
100%.
We'll see about that. And then we have our typical Spider-Man 2 that we know about, and then we have Marvel's Wolverine, and then again, like we said, Amy Hennig's Marvel game, which is going to be like hopefully a fantastic game. We'll see. But
hopefully.
they're working on a lot of titles, which is very interesting to see. I'm hoping that leads to, this is the thing. And I'm glad that we're talking about this, because for them to give us the very first showcase of like a gaming showcase for Marvel and Disney, this shows us a couple of things. It shows us that Marvel is now capable of giving us an actual showcase worth our time. Like, they have games lined up that we can actually see, and updates on games that we're actually interested in, announcements that we're actually looking forward to, like things like that. Before, if we were talking about that a year or two prior, they had games, but it wasn't like the catalog wasn't there. So for them to actually build this showcase talking about Marvel games, that shows that they're starting to build their catalog. Now, on the Disney side of things, Disney, for those that don't know, and back in the 90s, they were a developer, like a gaming developer. So they had
They
games
had a
like
lot of games too.
a lot of games, a lot of bad games, but a lot of good games as well. So it's nice to see that Disney is also kind of spreading out a little bit more. They've learned that okay, we're not really good at developing games, or maybe it's too much money and it's too cost effective to make these games. Let's branch out and let's give these high heavy hitter IPs that we have and give it to people like Insomnia. Give it to people that we know that we can trust them with our IP and that they're going to make a banger of a game. So that's how Spider-Man came about, That's why they're giving them Wolverine to like actually start out making this big budget heavy game. We have Square Enix doing Guardians of the Galaxy. Like those, I like the fact that Disney is branching out and saying, all right, who can we give this IP to and what developer fits best for this, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I think that's amazing. So it just gives me hope for this showcase being an actual like stellar showcase. I'm excited for that.
And I think it's long overdue. I think it kind of like you were saying, I second that a little bit. It also kind of shows that Disney, Marvel, however you want to say it, is a little bit, maybe possibly a little bit more serious about stepping into the gaming realm that much more, to this point where they're like, hey, we're gonna give you a showcase here,
Right.
And they're labeling it as the Disney and Marvel games showcase, but there's also Star Wars games too, right?
Yes.
So
100%.
here's a couple things that I was thinking as well but they're labeling it as the Disney and Marvel games showcase. So you would think that there'd be, since it's in the name, a large emphasis on the Marvel side of those games. And I feel like Spider-Man 2, Wolverine, the Amy Hennig game, Midnight Suns, and then this the Marvel Snap game, it's possible that may be all we get, because they're also going to talk about the Star Wars games.
Yes.
So it's possible, but I would feel like if you're labeling it as a Disney and Marvel showcase, there's got to be a couple more things that I feel like you would showcase, or at least one or two things that you would come out like surprising us with. Things that haven't been listed in articles and whatnot. That's just like a big bang surprise at the end of the showcase or something, like, here's this crazy game that you didn't even know we were working on. You know what I mean?
I'm hoping that's
feel
the
like
case.
there'd be more.
I'm hoping that's the case. And I'm glad you said that, because back in January 2021, for those that don't know, Lucasfilm Games and Bethesda Software announced that they are making an Indiana Jones game.
Right. And we haven't heard anything about that.
So
since.
Here's a little clip here for those that haven't seen it or heard it. I'm going to play the sound. And again, just a small teaser trailer, about a couple seconds, 33 seconds long. But can this be here in the showcase,
Possibly. They did say Disney and Marvel, so technically anything under the umbrella.
Yeah. I mean, Lucasfilms is set to be there, so this is a Lucasfilms game. So I can definitely see this game being there, kind of giving us a little bit more information and finally revealing this game for those that are excited for it. And that's a game that, can really make headlines. Now, a question I have for you, and I mean, it was bound to happen. I have to ask this. Will there be any news of Kingdom Hearts 4? I have to ask, you know what I mean? Like,
I personally don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. I think that they would leave that a little bit more up to Square Enix. That's my personal opinion. I don't think so. But then, I mean, it's also such a big IP. Like, it's such a big, I mean, it's got tons of Disney in it. You know what I mean? Like, it's so much Disney. So I feel like it's a large possibility, but I also kind of just feel, even with the Disney side of things from Kingdom Hearts, is it out of place for this specific showcase?
100%. That's where I'm like kind of like on the fence about. So
is that crowd? Is a Kingdom Hearts crowd going to D23 for Kingdom Hearts information?
Right.
And you know what I mean? That's how I think of it. Like, I don't think so. Not really. And I think Disney knows that. They're like, that's not where, we know our bread and butter is Marvel, is Star Wars, when it comes to at least them hosting something, in my personal opinion. Right. I think they would leave that to Square.
Yeah, I agree. I think in the past, though, Kingdom Hearts has always been in D20, not always, but for the most part, they've announced Toy Story at D23. They've announced, they had a trailer for the Monsters Incorporated level in Kingdom Hearts 3. So
did they? Okay, well then maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I could be wrong. I'm only basing this off of like kind of what I said and the fact that their emphasis is they slapped the Marvel logo on this.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
That's where
Disney and Marvel game showcase. So that's why I
if
that's
this
why
was
I
just
take a step back from
D23, if
Kingdom
this
Hearts.
was just D23 on its own, then I would probably be against the fact that Kingdom Hearts will definitely be in this, you know what I mean? But because, like you said, because they've tacked on the Marvel side to things here, this is the first time they're going to show a gaming showcase with Disney and Marvel. Like you said, you 100% nailed it. I don't think this is going to be the crowd for, or maybe it is. Maybe they're gonna,
could be.
Hang on. Maybe we're gonna see. I think we talked about this on your episode when you were here. Maybe they're gonna incorporate Marvel in Kingdom Hearts.
That would be. That's right. I totally forgot. We did talk about that.
Now, that would be it. That would make sense.
Yes, dude. That could be one of like the bigger announcements. You know, at the end or something where they're like, oh, and by the way, and then like everything just goes dark and then the screen shows and it shows like some Marvel stuff. And you're probably just thinking it's a Marvel game right off the bat, but then Sora shows up and then everyone's like, oh my God, make love to me, Sora. And everybody freaks out. You know what I mean? And they're like, oh my God, it's Marvel and Sora together. And then boom, Kingdom Hearts 4. You know what I mean? That could be one of the announcements. Dude, I didn't even think about that.
I just hyped myself up way too much.
I know, you got me hyped too, dude. That's a perfect way. It's the Disney and Marvel showcase. I mean, if Disney's not doing it, I almost feel now like it's a missed opportunity.
100%. I think this is where if they're gonna do this, this is where they have to do it. The first ever showcase for Disney and Marvel, Kingdom Hearts 4 on the horizon, not really, but and if they show the first full-fledged trailer for Kingdom Hearts 4 showing their first ever world, this would be the best place to show it. This is it.
And they could capitalize on all the hype for things right now as well. Spider-Man's always hype, you know what I mean? So they could have maybe Spider-Man in this trailer. But one of the biggest things is they could do some sort of like panning where it's like from the feet up and all you see is black shoes, black ankles, black shins, black pants. It goes up and then it's Black Panther. You know what I mean? And because that's hype as shit right now because of Wakanda Forever trailer and all of that stuff. And you know that also at D23 they're going to have a large focus on what else is occurring in the MCU, because at San Diego Comic-Con they touched on a lot, but they left a lot of things open for D23. So I'm sure they're going to be showing a lot more things. So it kind of only makes sense to incorporate all of that at D23 in general. Dude, a Kingdom Hearts and Marvel finally coming together crossover, it just makes sense, dude. It just makes sense.
So last question before we move on to the next topic here. Chazzy, what do you want Marvel to work on as a next big AAA budget game? I know we talked a little bit about that, but like for you, if they came to you, if Marvel called you right now and like, hey man, we want to make a game specifically for you, what do you want? What would you
X-Men? X-Men, 1000%. Like 2 or 3 episodes ago on my podcast, I did an entire episode about X-Men video games. If anybody's interested in checking it out, I'm sorry, I don't remember which episode it is right now, but it was like 2 or 3 episodes ago. It's called Create a Mutant and something else. I named it something else, but it's called Create a Mutant. And I went on a whole like, minus the cosplay of the week and all that stuff, it's probably like 45 minutes or more of full-fledged, in-depth analysis on what an X-Men game could be. And I specifically kind of a little bit more focused on what an X-Men game could be if it was MMORPG based. I kind of went down that route. I did also touch on RPG in general, not necessarily MMORPG. And this is the Gaming Duo podcast. I'm pretty damn sure your listeners know what an MMORPG is, but because I have a gaming, film, and cosplay, not everybody always knows all the terminology. But MMORPG would be like World of Warcraft, Elder Scrolls Online. You know what I mean? I went down that route with it, but I also did touch on RPGs such as like Skyrim or something, and what an X-Men game could be if it was in those genres. That's just what I decided to go with. But X-Men for sure. X-Men games were giant in the 90s, especially on Sega Genesis and stuff like that. And I feel like there was more. There was a couple more, especially the tie-ins with the Wolverine movies and like the X-Men movies back in the day, early 2000s. There was definitely X-Men games, but I feel like as of late, the last couple years for certain, there's been a lacking of X-Men altogether in everything, but especially in games. Like we've got Spider-Man in games pretty much always, Avengers, but the X-Men aren't getting the love that they deserve. Yeah, they're going to make appearances in Midnight Suns, and now Wolverine game is coming, so maybe down the line it'll happen, but X-Men for sure, they're missing in gaming, and I think they need to come back. So I would definitely choose X-Men, but I'm curious what you would choose.
I honestly, I already have what I want, Spider-Man. Like, I think
Mhm. You can't go wrong with Spidey.
can't go wrong with Spidey. I'm
You
a
can't,
huge
dude.
Spider-Man fan. I watched the movies
Mhm.
multiple times in the movie theater.
Mhm.
I love Spider-Man. That's just my go-to
Right.
superhero. And for Insomniac to make the Spider-Man game, like the best Spider-Man game ever made right now,
Yeah.
I'm all set. I'm good. Maybe if I would kind of like a Deadpool game and see how that would play out and see how that would
Yes.
be, but
The
I don't
last
know
dead there
how that would
is
look like.
Have you played the last Deadpool game that came out, like, years among years ago? I don't even remember how
No,
long
I didn't
ago.
even know there was a Deadpool game.
Yeah, it's on Steam. It's pretty old though. I think it was
Mm,
like in either the first Xbox days or the Xbox 360 days, like around that era. I
okay.
don't remember exactly what year that would be, but maybe look that up. It's on Steam. It's probably not that expensive. I actually own it. I never beat it. I got like pretty damn close. It's pretty fun, but it's
Okay.
outdated now.
Outdated. What was
Yeah.
it for again? You said Xbox
Uh,
360 era.
well, it's on Steam, so I think it's for everything now.
Okay.
But I just
Okay.
I just mentioned that as the era. I think it was
Oh,
the Xbox 360 era, like
so
that time
PS3,
frame.
Xbox 360. Gotcha.
Yeah, I
Okay.
believe it was PS3, Xbox 360. Yeah.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, that would be probably the only, or not the only, but like one of the ones that I would probably look forward to if they had like a Deadpool game. That'd be kind of cool to see.
Yeah.
I don't know who would make it. I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea who that would look like, how
Right
that
now,
game would
man,
look like.
my pick for developers for almost everything Marvel, I'm sticking with Insomniac, dude.
Insomniac, dude.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
they're
I'm
nailing
sticking
it.
with Insomniac. Like
They're killing
they've
it.
got it down. Like create a whole universe with Insomniac games, you know?
Yeah, man. Speaking of Insomniac, news number two. Will the Ghost of Tsushima movie be completely in Japanese?
Mm.
Chad's Chad
Mm.
Stahelski, director of John Wick, is tasked with directing Sony samurai game Ghost of Tsushima. You know what pisses me off? I I literally said his name, Chad Stahelski, like 100 times before we started recording
And then when you
to not fuck it up, and here I am
Yes.
fucking it up just
Yes, yes.
royally. You know what I
No,
mean?
I was looking at that too, and I was like, yeah, I'm glad I'm not saying it, you
I
know?
went on YouTube and I typed his name so that I can hear someone else say it, so I didn't sound like a dumbass,
I
and
do the
here I am
same thing.
sounding like a dumbass. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Sony samurai game Ghost of Tsushima into a full-fledged movie. This is quotes from Chad Stahelski. So
Mhm.
I think if we did this right, it would be visually stunning. Stahelski said, "It's character driven. It's got an opportunity for great action, great looks, and honestly, we love to do it. All in characters, meaning it's a Japanese thing about the Mongols invading Tsushima Island. A completely Japanese cast in Japanese. Sony is so on board with backing us on that. I've been going to Japan since I was 16. I have a lot of love for the country, love of the people, love of the language." Chazzy,
Hmm.
what do you think? First off, have you played Ghost of Tsushima?
I haven't, but I have seen it. I have a friend who's played it, so I've been there while he's played it as well. But I haven't got my hands on it myself. If I'm not mistaken, it's a hard game, right? Isn't it kind of like the Dark Souls stylish in a way?
No, it's a RPG, full-fledged RPG, but it's not.
Mhm.
It's think of it more of like Assassin's Creed.
Oh,
Where
okay, okay.
it's
Because
just
I've just
like
seen comments before, and people are like, "Oh, the game's so hard," and people were like comparing it to Dark Souls, and I was like, I don't know,
mm,
you know. But I haven't played it myself though, so I don't know,
I've
you
never
know.
played it myself either. I actually
Oh,
have
okay.
it on my PS5. I just never touched it yet. But
Yeah.
it's one of those games where it's very task oriented. Where again, just um like Ubisoft games where you have a bunch of
Yeah.
things on the map and you're just gonna
Mhm.
keep tackling each one until you finish the game. Basically, it
That
doesn't
literally
seem.
sounds like Assassin's Creed.
Yeah,
You know
basically
what I
that's
mean?
basically from what
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
getting. This is
yeah.
what it is. So do you think
Which I'm a
them?
big fan of, by the way, Assassin's Creed. So I might actually really enjoy this game and been procrastinating on it for no reason.
Yeah, I'm sure I would love this game because again, looking at this for visual listeners right now, it looks phenomenal. It looks like a type of
Yeah.
game that I would play. But
Mhm.
I keep saying this over and over. I can't play huge RPG games right now. Like it's just so like too much right now. It's
Tasking,
tasking,
yeah.
very
Uh-huh.
tasking, dude. And it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
do I want to spend 40, 50 hours on a game
Right.
just trying to, I don't know. It just, for me, it's too much. I
Right.
say that, and then I play Multiversus, and I have 50 hours in. So it makes absolutely no sense
I
what I
know.
say half the
I'm
time.
I'm with you though. We're on par with. We have a lot of similarities with that. Like we talked about before when I had you on. I believe it was on my episode when you were talking about like you at the time you weren't really playing anything. You just the drive and the passion just wasn't there at the moment. And I was literally at the same time going through the same thing. Which I just want to say real quick. Sidebar. We can talk about it at a later time, more in depth if you ever want to. But I beat Breath of the Wild. I finally beat it. Yeah, because remember I was telling you, I was like, for anybody listening, I'm super late on playing Breath of the Wild. I didn't just start it. I started it a little while ago, and then I got about halfway, and then I don't know whatever happened in life, and I like took a break and didn't go back to it for like almost an entire year. When I finally went back to it like a couple months ago, I checked my save file, and it was almost a year, dude. I think it was like 8 or 9 months. And I was like, why do I keep doing this? Like, I'm a giant fan of Zelda. Why do I keep doing this to myself? And then I finally went and I played it, and I beat it like maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. I forgot to hit you guys up about it and tell you, but here now.
I think you posted it on
Amazing.
Twitter. I think I did see that. Yeah, I did see that.
Yes, I did. Yes. Amazing game.
Man. It happens,
bro.
Man.
I always said that Twilight Princess was my top Zelda game, and it's been my top Zelda game forever.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, man, I think Breath of the Wild just took that top spot.
Oh yeah, dude, Breath of the Wild. I mean, and now you're ready for Breath of the Wild too. You know what I mean? So
yeah, exactly. I'm hyped. So anyway, my bad. I just wanted to cover that super quick because we were talking about tasking games and getting in like engulfed in games. I finally got engulfed in Zelda Breath of the Wild, and I finally beat it. And now I'm sad without it.
It's all good, Chazzy. All good. So Ghost of Tsushima movie. Do you think this is the right choice? Do you think a complete Japanese cast directed towards the Western audience is a good thing for this movie? Like, what do you think?
I think yes and no. I think there's a couple different ways to go about this. One, I think from an executive standpoint, from a business standpoint, I know they say that Sony is on board. They say Sony is on board with backing us on that.
Mm-hmm.
But are they really? In my personal opinion, because I do feel like while that would be absolutely cool, that would be absolutely authentic, I'm not necessarily, I mean, it depends on the show or the movie, of course. I'm not necessarily one of those people that are against subtitles, if I don't understand the language and having to read subtitles while watching the movie. But I think it depends on my mood, of course. It depends on how I'm feeling at that moment. It depends on the movie and how engulfed I am in it to be able to do that, such as one, I know I'm skipping ahead, but Squid Game, was one where a lot of people kept telling me to watch it. And I was like, I don't know, subtitles, this and that. But then I watched it and I loved it, So I think it really depends. But I do think, this is just me thinking and conversations that I've had with people about movies with subtitles in general. And in my personal conversation with people, I have come across more people as of late that don't want to read subtitles while watching their movies. Yeah. And I think it's because of the fast-paced world that we currently live in and the shorter attention spans that we are developing as human beings. I think, and again, I'm taking from personal experience with conversations I've had. This may not apply to everyone. Right. But for instance, I have someone, I won't out them, but this is what someone said about similar situation. When watching movies or shows with subtitles, they found themselves getting distracted and looking at their phone and going on TikTok or going on Instagram. Because they had to sit there and they had to read and focus and they just weren't feeling that. So there's a focus aspect to it and it's not for everybody.
Right.
So I think as a business, Sony would keep that in mind, that the majority of Americans, the Western front, don't speak Japanese. So they're going to have to read subtitles and that could, detour a couple of groups of people. But at the same time, it creates that authenticity. And at the same time, for those people that enjoy that, it could engulf those people that much more.
Right.
So I think it's, weighing the scales on a business standpoint, unfortunately, in my opinion, because let's just be honest, like it's money. When it comes down to Sony and all that, like the executives, it's all about money. Right. For the director, the cast, and all of them, it's about putting out an amazing product, right? Being creative and putting out that amazing product. And it seems that he is definitely, Chad is definitely, the director's 100% on board with creating that authenticity and a good story and all of that. And I know he says Sony is on board with it, but will they truly be when it comes down to, hitting the gavel there? I don't know.
I'm kind of on the different spectrum of this. I 100% understand what you're saying when it comes to, them about making money and all that stuff. I
Mhm,
just lost Steve. Oh, there you go. So I agree with you to some aspects, but I also
mhm,
think that this could be a bold move for them to actually like make, I think, more of a
mhm.
visual, like if they lean more on the visual aspect to this, like look how gorgeous this game
Yeah, I was
looks.
just gonna say that because the game is beautiful.
If they can nail this type of visual fidelity on a on a movie standpoint, I
Mhm.
think that would
It won't
still
matter
make
the
it
language.
won't matter the language. I
Yeah,
think people
I
would
agree.
still really enjoy this movie
I
for
do
what it
agree.
is, as long as they're, I think the thing that I'm enjoying about this and what Chad is saying is that they're trying to be as authentic as it can possibly can.
Mhm,
And that speaks volume for a lot of people because especially if you're working on something like this where it is very cultural driven. You have to be careful with things that you say, things that you do, things that you
right,
portray. And
right.
so for them to do that, I think it's bold. I think if they nail it and they have a full Japanese cast, one that's the first step, which I think they're doing a great job. If they have a full Japanese cast,
Yeah,
then that helps kind of like bring you into the movie that they're trying to show and the story that they're trying to portray. But going above and beyond, like even in the game, you have full-fledged Japanese subtitles with full-fledged
mhm,
Japanese voice actors, which is they didn't have to do that, but they did because
mhm.
people, and they even have like a filter grade where it's just like black and white, and it just
Yes,
adds to
yes.
that like
I've seen that.
authenticity. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And so,
and we do live in a world right now where people want, at least they say they
mhm,
want, that authenticity,
yes,
for roles to be portrayed by, the proper ethnicities or what
correct,
have you. That's a big thing in the world that we live in right now. So
correct,
while I did say what I said, I also do actually agree with you.
yeah,
I'm right in the middle. It doesn't really, I said what I said, but it doesn't, I'm not saying that's affecting me personally. Like I personally, I'm with it either way. You know what
right,
I mean? Either way that they go, as long as they're presenting a dope and engulfing and visually beautiful movie, then I'm on board either way. But I was just thinking from a business aspect, if it would be the best move financially.
right.
That's all I was thinking.
And
But
that
then,
I agree with. I don't know how
yeah,
financially, I don't know how well this is gonna do financially, and
yeah.
maybe they're taking a leap of faith. Maybe they're
But
just
I
like,
could
"You
be
know
wrong.
what? Yeah, we could be wrong,"
Yeah,
or we can just be
yeah.
like, "You know what? Maybe they have their expectations set. They know that this is
Hmm.
not gonna sell or sell. It's not gonna make as or gross as much income as they expected." But I know Sony is dabbling really a lot into making these video game adaptations.
Hmm.
It's coming a long way from before, right? I feel like a
Right.
lot of the movies now that we're watching, that we're seeing, it's definitely improving. Besides, excluding Uncharted, but I watched
Yeah.
that like a couple weeks ago, and I was like, it's all
I
right.
haven't watched it, but I have not heard the best things about it.
It's on Netflix if you want to watch it, but
Oh, is it on Netflix now? Oh
yeah,
shit,
that's
I
how
didn't
I
even know
watched it.
that.
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
so
okay.
it's okay. It's like your average. It's very very average, but
People were
uh,
making a lot of jokes that Tom Holland was doing a lot of Spidey moves in that movie. The
yeah,
way he was
actually,
moving
yeah,
his
he
body.
was. Yeah,
Was he?
he
He's
fights,
stuck,
dude.
man. He's stuck.
It's wild, dude. But I think another aspect to this too is that as we get to a newer generation of directors and people that
Mhm.
have a different mindset, if you think of back in the day, a lot of people would never watch like anime. A lot of people never watched like or
Yeah.
played video games before, right?
Mhm.
Now we're in a different generation where more so there's an older audience for players right now, and
Yeah.
those people who do go into the director business and into the video industry and stuff like that, they have a different visual key eye, I guess, when it comes to things like this.
Yeah.
And if they grew up playing video games, if they grew up watching anime, they're like, "Oh, you know what? I see what they did in this game. I see how
Mhm.
Dragon Ball Z did their like all their type of like move sets and all that stuff. And I see how the games portion comes into play on this. Maybe I can incorporate that into a movie." And so basically what I'm trying to say in this long-winded conversation here, I
Mhm.
feel like people now in this newer generation have a better key eye for trying to transition video games into movies,
Right.
simply for the fact that they've grown to loving and watching and playing video games. So maybe
Yeah.
this might be something that if Chad can, because he's a fan of Japan, he's a fan of
Mhm.
all these things that make the game so special. So if you can incorporate that into a movie, it could sell well. Like we said, we talked about Squid Game, we talked about all
Yeah.
these other movies that actually did pretty well in the Western audience, and it could very well be Parasite was a big one. I didn't see it, but
Yeah.
it
I
you
didn't
know,
see I keep wanting to go see it. It's on Hulu, I think,
is it?
right now. I think it is. I've been wanting to see it and I haven't, but I did watch Squid Game and I haven't seen Everything Everywhere All at Once either, and I heard that's absolutely phenomenal. Did you see that?
I haven't seen any of these 3, but I keep
I heard
hearing
they're
about
amazing.
it, and
Squid
it's
Game is absolutely Squid Game is dope, dude. Squid
well,
Game is
alright.
worth the watch.
I watched the first episode with my wife, and she was
Mhm.
not about it. Like, killing
Was
people
it
the way
was it the content or was it
the
the fact that it's in a different language?
no, the content.
Oh, okay,
She
okay,
did
okay.
not like the fact that people were getting mowed down and shit. I was like,
It's brutal,
"What do
dude.
you mean? It's
They're not cutting any
fine."
corners with that. And as we're talking about this more, and I won't drag it on, and forgive me if I'm taking your anything that you were going to say, but
No.
we just mentioned them. Squid Game, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Parasite. Like as we're talking about it more, and everything that I just said about what I said, my thoughts about it, as I'm looking at it more, Squid Game, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Parasite. Those are top movies, man. Like they
Right,
did phenomenal, like shows
right.
as well. One's a show, but I mean they did absolutely amazing, like phenomenal. You know, broke records, broke barriers. This could very well do the same. This game adaptation, you know what I mean? This
Yep.
movie adaptation, however you say it. Like this could very well do the same, and I could be absolutely wrong. You know what I mean? As I'm thinking about it more and more, and with everything that you said about like anime and then the video games, and it's appealing to wider audience. It's more common now. It's not necessarily so frowned upon like it once was.
Exactly.
Like it's predominant now.
Yes.
So mixing all of those things in, having it be fully in Japanese may not be as big of a deal as maybe I was thinking when I first started saying what I was saying. You know, as I'm thinking it through even more, it may not be that big of a deal. But also, anybody that's listening or watching or whatever may correct me if I'm wrong. But I believe also, though, the difference here is that Squid Game, Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Parasite were all Japanese films. And what I mean is they were
Made in
made
Japan,
made in Japan,
but
right? If I'm not
somehow
mistaken,
yes,
and
I
then made
100%
their way here. Whereas this would be made here on the West,
correct.
not necessarily by Japanese people. I'm trying to like word this correctly.
No, I
So
get what you're
somebody
saying,
doesn't come at me for wording things wrong. So I'm just saying, but I also, that's not to shit on Chad and his ability
and his
to
vision.
create something, you know, like he said, visually stunning and authentic. And
Mhm.
he also said about having a complete Japanese cast in Japanese. So the authenticity is there,
It's there, yeah,
but there is still a difference between the creation of Squid Game, Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Parasite, and then this being created here on the West by Americans.
100%.
So I
We'll
don't know. I
we'll
mean,
just have to see.
everybody take that as you will. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I don't know.
Again, we'll have to see. Again, Sony is involved in this and they're all on board.
Mhm.
Sony obviously being a Japanese company. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it. We don't know. We're just
I don't know.
shitting
That's
out
why
stuff here.
I'm just bringing it across. Does
Yeah.
it make a difference? I don't know. I'm leaving that open for discussion.
Yes, absolutely. Let us know in the comments on YouTube if you want, or on Twitter. Let us know what you guys think because interesting topic. I definitely want to see. I think I would gauge it more when we first see like the first trailer and see how it looks and what where their like
True.
where their vision is going. So we'll have to
Right.
see. Um,
Yeah.
but for now, let's move on to news number 3 here with Multiversus
Yes.
season 1 lacking content. Chazzy, before we start this, what is your have you dabbled with multiverses? Like what?
I haven't yet, and I
Okay.
have a question.
Yeah.
Is it free to play?
Yes.
It is 100% free to play?
100% free to play, and it's also
Okay.
cross progression, cross platform, like you name it.
Cross-platform, yeah.
Yeah.
At first, I didn't know
Mhm.
that it was free to play, and then a couple days before we finalized this and we're doing what we're doing now, I saw something saying it was free to play, and I was like, what have I been waiting for then? Like, why haven't I done this?
Trying to
So
wait
no,
for
I
the price to
haven't.
drop. Like, what's going?
I don't know what I was doing. I didn't know it was free to play, but it's
Yeah.
just also because I was playing Breath of the Wild and now I'm playing Spider-Man and I was definitely waiting on that. So I do know just to cover my tracks that was a thing because I'm kind of like what you were saying. I didn't want to dabble in too many games. I was kind of feeling how you were feeling, and now I finally really felt how I felt. Found that love again with Breath of the Wild. Now I'm delved into Spider-Man like a motherfucker. So, but I'm a huge Smash Bros fan.
Okay.
So this style of game is top notch for me. So now that I know 100% that it's free to play, I'm going to get in on it. I just don't know if I want to do it on my PC or on my Xbox yet.
It doesn't matter because if you go on your Xbox, it's cross progression. So if
it's
you
cross, so it doesn't really, you can pick it up and
you know
just,
what I mean? You can pick it up and you still
Okay.
have the same exact content, and the same exact unlocks that you had in your last save. So it's all good. So Multiverse Season 1 finally came out. Unfortunately, it does lack a little bit of content, more so than what players have wanted. I know we've been talking a lot about multiverses in the past couple weeks, but it's just been a
I've been
phenomenal
listening
game.
to you guys talk about it. Also with the genre geeks, you guys talked about it with them as well.
100%, yeah. And thanks for bringing that up. So Genre Geeks and the Gaming Duo podcast have started working together to see if we can make a multiverses tournament. And
I saw that. Yes.
Strictly for podcasters for now. So if you guys want to tune in and join, and if you're a podcaster for sure, go into our Instagram or Genre Geeks Instagram, and then you can sign up. A lot of the logistics are still to be determined right now, but we are still working on that. But definitely look forward to that. And so it's one of those things where Multiverse just came out of nowhere for us, and we picked it up actually back in the alpha, and we loved it. I loved it more so than Robert.
I remember you guys talking to me about it a few times when you guys were first checking it out.
Yeah, and then Robert kind of started getting into it a little bit more, and so we played the beta. Now season 1 is finally here. A couple things from the season 1 content here. Morty is coming on August 23rd. Rick is at some point coming in season 1. It's free to play. Rotation is still going to be happening. We had that for the beta, but now we're going to have Ira, Batman, LeBron, and Steven Universe as the rotating players. A bunch of balancing nerfs and buffs, including nerfs for Velma, Superman, Bugs Bunny, buffs for Ira, Taz, and Wonder Woman. You can definitely check out all the balancing full patch notes and all that stuff on the show notes. What really kind of, I guess the big thing about season 1 right now is that they announced 2 new characters, Black Adam, which I'm interested to see what you think about that, from DC. And Stripe from the Gremlins was also announced, which is a wild sentence to even say. But
yes, I know. Black Adam has the bar is set high for me with Black Adam because I like the Injustice games.
Yeah.
And Black Adam is actually one of my favorite characters from the Injustice game. So, but I know that this is a very different, still like a fighting game, but it's more on par with like a Smash Bros style.
Yes.
So I'm going into it knowing that and thinking that it's not going to be like what you would get from NetherRealm.
Not at all.
So
not even close.
I understand that.
Yeah,
but the bar is set high for the character like Black Adam for me, man. He's really dope in Injustice. For anybody that's never played the Injustice games or wants to play them, they're all available. If you got Xbox, I think they're all available on the Game Pass. Both of them are available on the Game Pass. I think you just play them if you got Game Pass, I believe. And those are really dope. So, but dude, now that I know it's free to play, I actually can't wait to get in on this because as everybody probably should know, or if you don't know, once again, gaming, film, cosplay on my podcast, and I often talk a lot about superhero stuff, Marvel and DC. So I'm a huge fan of everything like that. So Batman is at the top of my list for sure to check out. I'm saying characters I want to check out right away.
Sure, yeah.
Batman's at the top of my list. Superman's at the top of my list. I heard it. If I'm not mistaken, was it you that mains Wonder Woman?
I started with Wonder Woman, and I kind of do play her from time to time, but now I'm all Harley Quinn and I'm all Bugs Bunny right now.
Okay. And then Black Adam, of course, is one I want to check out. And then there's like the sorry, my dog is over here drooling all over me. But I am interested in checking out like Bugs Bunny. Taz is one of my favorites of all time from Looney Tunes, so I definitely want to check him out. And then the Gremlin situation, like it's so strange, dude. This game, man, you know what I mean? So many strange characters that I want to check out, dude.
It gets crazier too. I will talk about it in a bit here, but what really kind of I wanted to talk about was the lack of content in this season 1. I wouldn't say I'm blaming the developers because I'm definitely not. Developers for this game have been nothing but amazing when it comes to being very transparent on Twitter. I follow them,
Mm-hmm.
and they're doing a phenomenal job of like giving the information that you need. But I'm a
Right.
little disappointed when it comes to what was given the first day for the season one pass. And don't get me wrong, I know exactly that they mentioned a lot of the content is going to be kind of given throughout the lifespan of season one.
Mm-hmm.
So I get that. But the fact that it doesn't have arcade mode, the fact that it doesn't have rank mode on day one is a little disappointing on my end.
Right.
The fact that they lack Gleamium, which is like another form of it's like another form of like a premium currency that they have.
Right.
You can't there's no way to get it unless you just buy it, which is a little it's like Fortnite, for example. It's implemented into the battle pass, whereas
That's the
this
only
one
thing I
doesn't.
don't like about Fortnite, because I used to hate Fortnite completely, and then the only thing that brought me to Fortnite was when they implemented the no build mode,
Yeah,
and now I enjoy Fortnite. But the only thing that I kind of don't like is pretty much no matter what you do, if you want any skins or you want kind of almost anything in Fortnite, you got to pay for it. Like
yeah,
there's
for
really
sure.
no unlocking anything. So is similar? There's not really any unlocking anything unless you're paying for stuff, whether it be paying outright or the battle pass.
Because it's so bare bones right now, yeah, the majority of the
Mm,
stuff that you're unlocking, it's really nothing special if you don't have the battle pass. And even when you do have the battle pass is $10. Even if you do have the battle pass, there's only like 5 different variant skins that you can kind of choose from. And again, not that much content there for a whole season to again, I know they're gonna be giving us more content throughout the season, but for the very first day, I feel like it should have been a little bit more like bam, like in your face. Like this is what you're
yeah,
getting. This is what to expect. We want you to
yeah.
keep playing this game. Like here you go. And they didn't do that, which is a little unfortunate. But basically, this
Is there
game just what
there's no like story style mode either? There's nothing?
arcade mode is not here
No?
yet, and that's probably like
That's what the arcade mode's gonna be?
that would be their story kind of
And
game.
is
Yeah,
that confirmed? That's what they're going to do it? Or is that just something
arcade mode is
people
definitely
want?
confirmed,
Okay.
but it's gonna be in season 1, we just don't know when, it can be from
Okay, okay,
here
okay.
until I think season 1 ends in November, so it can be from here until November, and
Oh, wow, they're
so
cutting it close.
yeah, they are, but again,
You know what I'm
that
saying?
means that they're just gonna be giving us a lot of announcements throughout the
Yeah,
next coming months, which is fine. I just what
yeah.
I'm trying to say in the grand scheme of things is that for this being a free to play game, for this being I mean, I don't know if they're trying to rival Smash or probably not, but obviously they have a lot of ties to what Smash is and what that game
The
holds to
style,
everyone's
yeah.
yeah the style. They needed to come out swinging with this first season one pass, and I think they
Mhm.
kind of dropped the ball in that aspect. But I'm not saying it's completely doomed and gloom. It's just
Yeah.
weird to kind of have that. So I talked to you about Black Adam. I know you're excited for that. Um, I guess, do you think this game, and I know you haven't played it yet, but in your opinion, what do you think this game is going to be here for the long run? Do you see this game staying in here for a few years, like 2 to 3 years, or is this going to be like a
I
couple years
think
and then it's gone?
I think it has the potential, especially being that Smash is still definitely doing good,
Mm,
but I think Smash Ultimate's run is over,
yeah.
if you ask me.
Mhm.
So this could fill that void. But like you kind of said, they got to bring a little bit more meat. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Yeah.
They got to bring a little bit more meat to the package. There's a sexual joke in there somewhere. But I think what a lot of things are doing in the gaming industry, in my personal opinion, is there's a lot of slow rollouts with
Mm,
almost everything these days. I think it's what's the word I'm looking for? I think it's almost kind of like a sales tactic in a way. I don't know if that's the exact word that I'm looking for, but
I guess
it's
you.
kind of like a little bit of a longevity tactic as well, I think. And I think it does work because it's like, okay, slow rollout. It definitely does keep the longevity there. I'll give you an example, but it's an example of that happening, but it's also an example of maybe not quite working 100% that great.
Sure.
And that's the Mario Kart DLC.
Ah.
On my podcast, I tore into Nintendo about the Mario Kart DLC and how it should have been an announcement of a new Mario Kart instead.
Mhm.
And people tore into me, dude,
Damn.
disagreeing with me on like especially on TikTok, dude, they ripped me apart. Like for the first time in the years that I've been doing this, that's the first time that I had a large amount of people just disagreeing with me. They were like, this is amazing. Like, you're just complaining and blah, blah, blah. And I even gave points to like, I'm not just complaining. Here's why I think the way I think. And I'll look at both sides of it, the people that are stoked for it as well, because while I am interested in playing these DLCs for Mario Kart, I just think that it's just too little too late. Like, we should have got something new for Mario Kart, in my personal opinion. So with that being said, though, while it's cool, and I don't know if you're playing the Mario Kart DLCs, and they're fun, I played them a couple times and then I'm done. So is that tactic of we're going to release them slow rollout over the course of, what is it, like a year or a year and a half or something?
Yeah, I believe
for all these Mario Kart DLCs. Is it really working? Because I also did a poll on my IG asking people. So now that some time has passed, do you agree with me? Was I actually right? Or was I actually still wrong? Like, was it worth it? And the poll got a like 80-something% of people saying, you were actually right. It's not worth it.
There you go. Like, you see?
And I was like, see? But so I'm just taking that concept and applying it to the slow rollout in general. And if that is a multiverse thing, does a slow rollout always work? I think they're thinking slow rollouts, longevity, it'll keep people enticed. It'll always have something. But sometimes it's kind of a hit or miss if it's taking too long as well. And then the content that you're bringing in isn't hitting enough. People are just doing, for instance, what I'm doing with Mario Kart. While I am enjoying it for the moment that I'm playing it, I maybe play a few rounds, a few laps, whatever you want to say of those. And then I'm on to something else until the next DLC comes out and I'm not playing it for months among months.
Right.
So I don't know. But I think at the same time, this kind of does fill that Smash void. And there's a ton of beloved characters in there and a variety of beloved characters. So they're appealing to various crowds at the same time, which is smart. So, they can get this crowd and get this crowd and this crowd, and everybody's coming together from different crowds, different genres, different loves for characters and whatnot. So I don't know, man. I think it's a real 50-50, and maybe it's too soon to fully tell, but we live in a very, very fast-paced world.
Yes.
So while I think it's possibly too soon to tell, especially, I mean, I'm a shining example. I haven't even got onto the game yet. There's probably millions of me's out there that haven't got onto it yet. And so when you're going to always have new people coming into the game because it's still so fresh and new, such as myself. But at the same time, is there enough going on to keep all those people that, even if they are late on it, continuing to play and continuing to be excited about it? I don't know. Maybe I'll have a more in-depth, even more so than everything I just said when I start playing it. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But right now, I would say, just looking on the outside of it, I think it's very 50-50. And I think maybe a little bit more time.
I think right now, Multiversus.
But you played it, so you may have a better thought process. Sorry. I just want to say
I've put in like 50 hours now, which is wild. Again, I'm hypocritical when it comes, I can't play a full-fledged open world RPG and I'm playing 50 hours of Multiversus, but within increments, you know what I mean? Like, it's like 20 minutes here, 10 minutes here, and it just adds up. And so Multiversus is in a very good situation now where Smash is basically gone in a sense. It's not going to be adding any more DLC. So that's kind of out of the bag there. And then when it comes to what Multiversus is doing, you got to think about it. Multiversus is free to play. It is open to different consoles. So it's Xbox, PlayStation, PC. It is instead of like how Smash Brothers is just kind of like.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that. Damn,
it's only
that's
on
a good
Nintendo.
Point.
And on top of that, Nintendo is so wishy-washy when it comes to like having the fighting scene be so active in Smash.
Yes.
Multiversus is taking that, and it's taking it was at Evo this year,
Yeah.
So it's definitely giving the audience a different level of excitement when it comes to playing this game because of all those things that I just said. And I think that will separate it from Smash Brothers and give it the audience that it deserves and it needs, because I mean, people want something in the fighting genre. So people want to have these amazing top-notch evil fights and having all those great things that Smash would have been amazing for, but because Nintendo's Nintendo, they didn't allow it. And so this is what I think Multiverse needs to actually succeed. If it keeps kind of like moving towards the fighting scene, if it keeps the whole free to play situation thing, and then
Yeah.
adding these bizarre characters, I think, is also helping a lot too, because there is a leak, which we're not really huge on leaks here, but there is a
Yeah,
leak
I remember
here
you
that,
guys talking about it before.
yeah, it
Yeah.
points to Beetlejuice and Wicked Witch of the
Yes.
West from Wizard
When
of
I saw
Oz.
that actually immediately drew me in because I am a giant Beetlejuice fan. Like when
Me
I say
too.
giant Beetlejuice fan, bro, like I probably watch Beetlejuice in a year, every year, more times than any man should. Like
Dude,
I'm a giant Beetlejuice fan.
I watch it religiously. I watch that, and what's the other one that I watch on Halloween? Oh my god, I'm drawing a blank here. I watch 2 movies, like, religiously, one being Beetlejuice every year
Mhm.
in October, and it's just like, and I have it on Blu-ray because I just watch it every fucking year.
Yeah, I own it
Um,
too. Yeah.
and so it's interesting that they're gonna do that. So
But
unfortunately,
it's
they don't
probably gonna
have.
be the animated version of Beetlejuice
I
though.
would think so, yeah, I would think
From
so.
from the 90s,
From
right?
the 90s, yeah, which I'm I'm
Yeah.
I'm stoked about. It doesn't matter to me as
Yeah,
long
that's
as
fine.
Beetlejuice
Yeah.
is in it. But,
Yeah.
so they must have took down the voice lines for Beetlejuice, so I don't have that, but I do have Wicked Witch
Uh,
of the West here, so I'm gonna play that, just for a little bit. It's only like a, what, 37-second
You're out
thing.
of
yeah.
time, my pretties. Pick a character. I know who I choose. Ooh, now this should be interesting.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you'll get them next time, my pretties.
So these are
So
files.
that's definitely confirmed.
Yeah, so these are files from, like, leaked again, and these are voice lines from what supposedly is within the game, and so
Right.
that's exciting. That makes me. I'm like, all
Yeah,
right, this
100%.
this is cool because they're adding again. Warner Brothers has a huge lineup of characters and properties, and it seems insane. Like, and I want to see how this game looks like a year from now, because if they're gonna add Beetlejuice, if they're gonna add Wicked Witch of the West, if they're gonna add the Gremlins, like, it's just a wild
Yeah.
cast, and I can definitely see this game succeeding. Back to season 1 though, it is lacking, but again, it's not the end of the world. I can see them improving that, and I can see them kind of reshaping things for season 2, and
Yeah.
kind of making things a little bit better.
Even though I haven't played it, I have gone through like the list of the leaks and everything and seen them. And if they all end up, coming true, they're gonna have a lot of content. They're gonna have a
Mhm.
lot of characters. They're gonna have a lot of things to be man, my dog just drooled on me so heavy, dude.
Damn, dude.
Let me grab a napkin real quick.
Go
I'm
for
so
it, man.
sorry, dude.
Go
I'm
for it,
so
go for it.
sorry.
I'll just keep talking about Multiverses. That's fine. I'm cool with that.
I can still hear you too.
Oh, cool. So yeah, Multiverses, I think it's gonna be they definitely have something special here, and I'm not gonna keep talking too much about Multiverses every single episode, but for the most part, I think they have something special here, and if they continue doing what they're doing right now, besides the lack of content that they're struggling with at the moment, I think we have something special right now. I'm not to toot my own horn, but I am a pretty decent Harley Quinn character, Harley Quinn player. So get at me if you guys want to fight me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can't wait to check this out. How's the Iron Giant? Just because he's so big and bulky, is he good or no?
I think they buffed him in this update. So he's fine. He's just huge. He's just massive. He's an easy target. So I can just combo him to death, basically. But
Right.
but he's strong. Once he hits you, he hits you.
Right. I'm gonna get my brother in on this game too. Watch.
Nice.
Well, and let us play it a little bit. Let us get familiar with it.
Okay.
Then I'll hit you guys up.
Is that a challenge? I hear a challenge.
It might be, dude. It might be. I can
Enough
still
about
hear you.
the
I'm just
news,
closing my
man.
blinds here.
Oh, that's all fine. Enough about the news here. That was a lengthy news setting there, but let's move on.
Sorry,
to
man. That's probably my fault, dude. Sorry to your listeners, man. Like,
dude, no,
I'll talk
I think the
ears off,
listeners,
you guys. I'm sorry.
I think the listeners want more of us. Like,
That's
we
the
usually
thing.
just
Like
kinda
when you
end it
have
with an hour, and they're like, we want more. You know what I mean? So
that's the thing. Like when you have other podcasters, like on my podcast too, when you have other podcasters, dude, we just talk, man, because we're all used to talking on,
100%.
especially me. Like I'm a solo podcaster. So I'm used to filling like an hour of content by myself. So anytime I go on someone else's podcast, I always try to tell myself, all right, dude, shorten your answers because it's not just you. You know what I mean? Like you're not just by yourself, man. But man, bro, I will go, dude. So
fun fact though,
so I'm sorry, man.
I actually wanted to do this episode solo. I was thinking about it. I was contemplating. I was like, you know what? how would this episode look if I just did it by myself? And I was like, you know what?
Get that experience.
I don't know if, just to kind of see and dabble how that looked. I'm not ready for that right now. I'm not ready for that yet. I can't. I'm not Chazzy. I can't do it by myself. So let's end the news settings here and let's get into in-game chat.
Yes,
Chazzy, I think you're gonna like this topic here. I made this specifically for you.
Oh, nice.
So is Warner Brothers or DC in general in trouble? With the merger of Warner Media and Discovery completed, it's estimated to be about 43 billion in the merge, which is insane. Recent layoffs at HBO Max, canceled projects such as Batgirl, and most recently allegations against Ezra
Miller. Yeah,
Ezra Miller, thank you.
Yeah.
Began to happen as a rap. It just kind of like happened like at a rapid pace here. So, do you think Warner Brothers as a whole is in trouble? And what does this mean for the Warner Brothers game side of things?
Well, I covered this on my episode that's out right now, episode 124, where I went like super in depth with a lot of different things and my thoughts about it and everything, and actual just like confirmed news and everything that this Discovery CEO David Zaslav talked about and confirmed. And I think that it could be in better hands, actually. Trying to find this one note that I had on my podcast, this quote. I want to read this real quick since you're here. I don't know if you saw that episode. It's fine if you haven't. And obviously your listeners probably haven't. So I want to read this. This is from, for anybody that doesn't know, he kind of just covered it, and I'll do my best not to drag this on. You have Warner Bros., then you have Discovery. The Discovery CEO is David Zaslav. Discovery merged with Warner Bros. It's now Warner Bros. Discovery, one big company with Zaslav at the helm. People, obviously, when you have mergers, certain executives, are gone. They leave or they're fired, they're let go, whatever you want to say, and they make room for the new company that's, the helm of everything. With that, you got a new guy who's in charge that may not see everything the way that the previous people in charge saw them. So, right. And that is exactly how David Zaslav thinks. He does not see things the way that WB was doing them previously. So this is what he says, and I quote, it's kind of a long quote, bear with me, I'll read it fast. Our ambition is to bring Warner back and to produce great high-quality films. As we look at the opportunities that we have broadly, DC is at the top of the list for us. You look at Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman. These are brands that are known everywhere in the world. The ability to drive those all over the world with great story is a big opportunity for us. We have done a reset. We've restructured the business where there will be a team with a 10-year plan just focusing on DC. It's very similar to the structure that Alan Horn and Bob Iger put together very effectively with Kevin Feige at Disney. Yep. We think that we could build a long-term, much stronger, sustainable growth business at DC. And as a part of that, we're going to focus on quality. We're not going to release any film before it's ready. The focus is going to be, how do we make each of these films in general as good as possible? DC is something that we think we can make better, and we're focused on it now. And he also stated that he's seen Black Adam, he's seen Aquaman, and he's seen The Flash. And while he stated that he thinks they're great, he also thinks that they could be even better. So, and then he just went on to say a lot of different things that a lot of fans in DC have been screaming for. A lot of fans, once again, shortening this. If you want to hear any more in depth, you can check out my episode if you'd like. But a lot of fans have been screaming for WB to switch it up, right? They want a little less comedy, something more serious. DC's known for the more serious, the darker tones on occasions. They want something like that. They don't want them to focus their focus to be on like this kind of like Marvel style joking all the time, a little bit more for kiddies because it's Disney, They want the darkness of DC. A lot of people would say the Batman, Matt Reeves' The Batman was a shining example of what they would kind of like from DC much more. Something that Warner Bros. Has been doing that I definitely would say was in trouble was bringing out the Batgirl film, saying that they're going to focus on Supergirl, not knowing what Batmans they're going to focus on and bringing in several different ones all the time and never really knowing where it's going, saying that the Snyderverse is dead, not knowing what they're doing with Henry Cavill and not bringing him back, and just going on this route of bringing in all these other characters instead of focusing on what is the DC Trinity, such as Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, and knowing that that's what the fans want. At least And there's nothing wrong with having Batgirl, Supergirl, and all these other characters, but how about we finish a fucking storyline first?
Right. Right.
Like, how about we focus on Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and flesh these out and finish a good storyline, such as what Marvel did with Captain America, Iron Man, and then moved on to all these other characters. And that's another conversation for another day on how people feel about that. But the blueprint is there. And it seems that David Zaslav, mentioning Kevin Feige by name, mentioning by Marvel by name, are taking that blueprint and applying it to DC. They've created a DC Studios with a 10-year plan, which is the exact same thing that Marvel did. So I would actually say that I think Warner Bros. Is possibly in a better position with David Zaslav at the helm, at least in theory, at least on paper, at least what it sounds like. Now, it all depends on how it's executed. That's another story. But what it sounds like, I feel like it's in better hands. But this is a 10-year process, so we're just gonna have to wait and truly see.
I have to agree with you. I think they are in a better position again on paper. I'm going based off of what he said, and I read that I read that same quote, and so I think they are in a better shape when it comes to the movie side of things, right? Because I think that's what they're really focused on. Incorporating the gaming side of things. I've noticed there's been a lot of games that have been delayed in Warner Brothers, and I don't know if that's part of their tactic of like, maybe this is not up to par with what they want, so let's push it back a little bit to get it up to snuff to where, the quality where we want it. And so like Hogwarts Legacy is a major one, a huge one for Marvel.
I'm excited for that,
Warner
actually.
Brothers. And so that's being pushed now to February 10th of 2023. Back for Blood has no release date at the moment. Gotham Knights was another one that was delayed. I think it's being pushed down
as it should be, in my personal opinion.
Yes,
as it should 100%. Be. I don't think it's ready to go. I really don't think it's ready to go. And I think the majority of fans looking forward to that game would agree. I think I in my opinion, at least, because I covered not the whole episode, but a portion of my episode, I covered Gotham Knights pretty in depth and heavily as well. And I did get a lot of people agreeing with me that it's not ready.
Yeah. I mean, I was one of those people. I think when I first saw the game, I'm like, oh, I am excited for this. And then when I actually started seeing more and more of it, I'm like, yeah, something's off. Something's off with this. And,
it just didn't feel. Yeah.
So that's another one. And then Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad killed the Justice League.
I'm so looking forward to that as well.
Looking forward to that. I think it's going to be phenomenal. But again, it's one of those things where like, is this a sign of trouble, or is this a sign of like, let's restructure, let's make sure that we get these games up to where we want them to be, and then have them released where the quality that we want them to be. So,
and I don't know, forgive me, this is one that I actually don't know. I haven't seen David Zaslav talk about anything regarding WB games, but I could be wrong. Maybe there's something somewhere and I just haven't seen it. But from the research I did, I didn't see him even touch on it. Like, is that troublesome in itself, that there's not even a word on what's going on now that somebody else has taken the helm of the entire company and there's no word on anything going on in the game world for that company? Is that troublesome, or is that more so like whoever is taking care of that, they've got it, we're good on that. We need to focus on these films because they're a mess right now. The games are good, even if maybe them being delayed. Whoever's working on everything over there, they've got it. I'm going to focus on this. It could be that though too. Who knows?
I'm hoping that's the case. I mean, and I think even one of the Warner Brothers Multiversus developers, they've come out flat out and said, hey, the restructuring with Warner Brothers and Discovery has nothing to do with our game. It's not going to be touched. Like, don't worry about it.
Interesting. So it probably is not really affecting the game side of WB that much at all. They probably just maybe, report to different people, maybe, and at the end of it all, maybe David Zaslav has some sort of say or overlook on something. But if that's the case, it kind of maybe just sounds like the games side of them,
it's all
that company's
care of,
it's all it's in good hands. They're just going to do what they do.
Hopefully. So I'm excited. I mean, I think next year is going to be a big one for Warner Brothers. Again, they have Multiversus right now. It's doing phenomenal. It's probably one of the best fighting games out right now that is selling. Not selling, but it's being played so often right now. And so they're in good hands right now. I think next year we're going to see, once Hogwarts come out, once Suicide Squad comes out, once Gotham comes out, we'll see how that looks. But I'm looking forward to a lot of Warner Brother games, which I wouldn't really say I wasn't back in the day. You know what I mean? Like, I was excited for Batman. I was excited for all those games, but I wasn't like a major fan of like those games. I'm looking forward to those games at the moment.
Yeah. This could be like a resurgence for WB as a whole, from the movies to the games. I mean, with delays and things coming out all around the same time, I mean, there's a possibility that we could see like a big comeback for WB. I mean, that's pretty much what Zaslav said he wanted, to bring Warner back, that true Warner, that feeling of Warner Bros. From games to movies and everything in between. We could see like a really good, next couple years, like an awesome, turnaround for everything Warner Bros.
Right. And I'm excited to see, I don't know, do you know when Fandom DC is by any chance?
I don't know the date or anything.
I don't know the date.
I don't remember. I don't remember off the top of my head.
That gets me excited a little bit. Just seeing, I know like they have their own expo, and I think if they show off a lot of these games, if they show off Injustice, that'd be something cool to watch. Like, they definitely have games.
Yes. Because just like you guys said, at Evo and stuff, no information on anything Mortal Kombat, no information on anything Injustice. So that could possibly be a DC Fandom situation.
For sure. We'll have to see. Again, this is all up in the air. We're just speculating, but we don't know the answer. I'm probably leaning more towards what you're saying, where they're in good hands. Like they're not touching the gaming side of things. They're just focusing on the movie side of things. So we'll have to see.
Yeah.
Well, that wraps up everything here for us, but we're not done here. We got Would You Rather. You've not been on our podcast for Would You Rather, so this is very interesting.
I haven't.
This is a little fun game that we decided to do, and I think you appreciate this. Would you rather?
I listen to it when you guys do it, and it's always entertaining and fun, even just to listen, man. And I play along too. I'm like, okay, I'll do this one.
Yeah. So I have a couple questions.
Which, by the way, I played along when you guys did the genre geeks, and you guys did the trivia. I played along with the trivia.
Oh, okay, the trivia.
The first question was, what was the Japanese? I believe it was if I've got the terminology right, the Japanese name for the Nintendo Entertainment System.
Oh yes.
And it's the Famicom. I was screaming in my car. I was like, "It's Famicom! It's Famicom! You guys, come on!"
Not
and
known
you
that.
and Rob were like, but Rob got it. I think at the end. Yeah,
Rob knew. He was just waiting for me. He was just making me look stupid. That's all. I see you, Rob. So let's start with Would You Rather here. First question for you, Chazzy.
Yeah.
Which ability would you rather have? The ability to rapidly heal and recover from injury and bodily damage, or the ability to transport oneself from one place to another, not traversing any physical distance at all?
Oh God. You guys put me in these positions. I'm indecisive. Oh man. I always would love to like transport and do those things, but I think in this particular case, I think I'm going to go with the rapidly heal and recover because it reminds me of Wolverine.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I'm a giant Wolverine fan, but I have a question though regarding that. Does that mean I don't die?
No, you will die. If a train hits you, you're probably gonna die. But if you were still alive, if you still had a heartbeat, I think the healing process.
But what about natural causes? Am I going to die from old age and natural causes, or is my body just going to constantly heal itself? And I literally am like Wolverine, which is depressing as shit, just constantly and consistently watching everybody die around you. That's like one of his things. You know what I mean? He constantly is losing everybody, and that's one of the reasons he hates his mutant abilities. He's just constantly stuck in depression.
So does that change your answer?
I kind of want it to, you know what I mean? Because that's depressing as shit. But at the same time, it's like, imagine like, I mean, I know you're playing God here, but imagine like getting cancer or something and the ability to rid that and not have to go through all that pain and destruction of your own body.
Right.
Or something happens, you lose a finger. Can you grow it back?
You're gonna have to see for yourself, man. You're gonna have to get that ability and see what happens. Let me know, man.
I'm gonna stick with that. I'm gonna stick with the healing in this case, just to do something different, because the usual me would probably pick the other one. But what would you pick?
I would pick the ability to transport. I'm thinking right now, I'm like, all right, you know what? I don't want to drive to work. I don't want to go from point A to point B. If I could just get to where I want to go in a snap, if I could like instant transmission, I'd be like, dude, this is fucking cake. Like, I love it.
It is so useful.
So I'm gonna go with the ability to just transport anywhere I want. You know what I mean?
I'm just doing something different. I'm trying to be different here today.
Don't get me wrong.
I know that's
The
what I would
ability to heal
usually
yourself
pick.
is a pretty cool
Yeah.
perk. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think I'd rather just transport, make my life a little bit easier. You know what I mean?
It is definitely easier though,
For
dude.
sure.
Imagine just be like, I feel like going on vacation.
Bing,
You know, right?
you
And
don't
you're
have to
there.
drive. You know what I mean? Fucking golden. You know.
God, that'd be dope, dude.
Next question here. Which Marvel game would you play right now if you could speed up time? The other game will be canceled. So 2 questions here. Spider-Man 2 or Wolverine? We just
Wolverine,
talked about
hands
this.
down.
Oh,
hands
damn,
down.
that was
Wolverine.
quick. Okay.
Hands down. And here's why though.
Okay.
Because if they never made
Spider-Man 2 will be canceled, just FYI.
Yes, yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So
Okay.
you have Spider-Man and then you have Miles Morales, right? So if they never made a Spider-Man 2,
you still have those
from what I'm
games.
experiencing so far, I would be completely satisfied still.
Yes. Yep.
If this was just one game, they never made a sequel to it, I'd be completely satisfied. And that's with me only playing the game for about 3 days,
Yep.
you know, and I don't know where I'm at progression wise. I don't remember, but that's with me only playing it for a few days. I'd be completely happy. But the fact that I haven't seen this Wolverine game and I don't know exactly what this Wolverine game is,
Right.
and the fact that it's made by the same people that made Spider-Man that I'm completely satisfied with, even with only playing it for 3 days, it makes me feel like a Wolverine game, especially being that it's one of my favorite characters of all time and my favorite X-Men of all time. It intrigues me that much more. It's the sense of not knowing.
Yes.
And the mixture of knowing how good Spider-Man was and is, I guess, for me. So I would choose Wolverine because I'm going to be absolutely satisfied with Spider-Man.
And knowing
so I want to see Wolverine.
And knowing that Insomniac is capable of making such a phenomenal game. You want to see how Wolverine looks. I'm right there with you.
Yes.
Yeah, Wolverine's my answer too. I would be a little upset though because the trailer for Spider-Man 2 looked like freaking dope with
having Venom. Oh my god, another one of my all-time favorites, bro.
You know what I
I
mean? I'm not gonna see
know.
Venom in this
I know.
full-fledged
And you're gonna
Insomniac
see
game?
you're gonna see Peter and Miles, it seems, team up against Venom. Like, oh my god, dude.
There's some rumors saying that there might be a co-op aspect to Spider-Man 2. We're not entirely sure, but there's some rumors about that. So yeah, if that would be the case,
that would be amazing.
Be missing on a big portion of what would have made Spider-Man 2 phenomenal.
Yes, I know, but I gotta go Wolverine. What would you choose?
I Wolverine, yeah, 100%. Everything you said was spot on what I thought, because it's like it's the unknown. You don't know how this Wolverine game, especially being made by Insomniac, you don't know how it's going to be. It's going to be phenomenal. We know that. I want to see it. I want to see how well this game plays. So, and we have Spider-Man, the first Spider-Man. We have Miles Morales, so we know just how well those games are, and I'm satisfied with those 2 games. So
yes. 100%.
Wolverine game, I have to see that.
100%. 100%.
That does it, man. That does it. This
has
been episode 84 of Gaming Duel Podcast. What's up?
Wait, I got a would you rather for you. I got one question for you.
Okay, that's good.
I haven't fleshed it out 100%.
Okay.
Because I got distracted doing all the behind the scenes stuff today. So I'm going off the top of my head. So forgive me if it's not worded correctly. You know me. I'm pretty on point, man. So I'm thinking about it randomly off the top of my head. I didn't have it fleshed out on how to word it. But
acapella.
Would you rather have with Super Mario and Sonic, right? Think about everything with Super Mario. Think about everything with Sonic all these years from the beginning up until now.
Okay.
Would you rather have everything play out the way that it is right now with Super Mario, Sonic, their games, everything about it?
Okay.
Or would you rather have the other way around, where Sonic takes the place of Super Mario being better? Sega succeeded. Sonic is the better one.
Yeah.
You still have Mario, but it's just the other way around where
version.
Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Where Mario had amazing games for a good chunk of years.
Yep.
And then Mario ended up going downhill, which is not a thing. So the other way around, would you rather have it right how it is now, or Sonic ended up being the better of the 2? So instead of like Sonic 06, you would have like Mario 06 and it would suck.
Oh my god. That's an excellent question. I'm just, the only thing I'm nervous about with Sonic games is the control and how they feel. It's very loose, very like just kind of weird. So if that's improved and it feels more like tight, like a Mario game per se, then I would definitely go with Sonic. I would want Sonic to
And
be
let's
kind of like
let's sprinkle a little extra on this just for the sake of me not having any other would you rathers for you.
Yeah.
With this comes the company of Sega succeeding much more than they did. So with this comes Dreamcast succeeding much more than it did. And with this comes Sega never bowing out of being console developers and having their own consoles. So we could have a Dreamcast 2 or another Sega console. Would you sacrifice everything that Nintendo has done and not know exactly what's going to happen for the future of Nintendo? Like if you could switch it up right here, right now, and you don't know exactly how it's going to turn out, you just know that it's not going to be as good. It's going to take the roles are going to be reversed. So you know that Nintendo's going to have a downfall and not be as good. And you know that the future of Nintendo would definitely be no more consoles. They would become the game developers that are on publishers that are on Sega consoles. Would you flip that
that's
take that
rough,
risk of seeing what Sega could do if they were in Nintendo, if they took Nintendo's position? Would you take that? Because that could have erased games too. We may not even have
a lot of games. We couldn't have Smash.
You may not even have certain Mario games. Maybe Luigi never got Luigi's Mansion.
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't know. Would you take that risk, press that button, and have the present change, or would you be like, no, I don't want to take that. I'm good with how it turned out.
I'm good, man. That's a lot to put.
That's a lot, right?
That's a lot of change, and I'm not fond of change like that. I'm good. I think I'll stick with what we got right now, just because I don't know how well Sega would.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know what that would look like. There's a multiverse out there that there is a Sega that probably succeeded. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't know how that looks like, and I don't know.
I've always thought about that. That's what made me think about that question. Is I've always thought about like, what if Sega succeeded more? You know, what if Sonic games didn't fall flat for a lot of those years? You know, what if they continued? You know, what if Dreamcast was more successexual? Like, what would have happened? You know, what if they never had their games on Nintendo consoles? Like, what would have really happened? Would Xbox have succeeded as much? You know, like what would have happened if all of that occurred? I always think about that. So I always thought like, that'd be cool. Like, what if we could just switch places right here, right now, but not know what's going to happen. And once you do it, that's it. It's final. And now you're living in that universe.
Yeah, big brain.
I wouldn't do it either, though. I wouldn't do it either, though. I'm too big of a Mario fan. I couldn't do it, man.
I couldn't do it, man. I mean, I'm not the biggest Mario fan out there, but I do love playing from time to time. Like Mario Sunshine wouldn't be a thing, maybe. Like, come on, dude. I love
know,
Mario
right?
Sunshine,
Who knows? Because that time frame right there. Ooh.
Nah, man. I think I'm all set. I'll keep it the way it is, dude. Excellent question there. Excellent question. But this wraps up episode 84 of the Gaming Duo podcast. Chazzy, thank you again for hosting with me, for being a part of our episode, and for just being a cool ass dude and just coming in and just saying yes, like just saying 1,000% yes. Like, yes, I'm in. We're in. I know the future. This episode came out great, and it was.
I think you hit me. I responded in like 30 seconds. I was like, I'm in.
Yep, exactly. So I thank you for that. Anything you want to plug in? Anything you want to talk to the listeners about?
Yeah, man. First, I just want to thank you, man. I want to thank you for always having me on, for always thinking of me. We talk outside a lot of things that people don't see as well. We bounce ideas off each other from episodes to, what we could do, incorporate in our own episodes as well. So things that you've seen me talk about on game wise and you see on my episodes may come from conversations that I had with these guys, man, and vice versa. So it's just really cool to build these relationships with people. And I'm thankful, man. I'm thankful to come on your episodes. It's totally cool to, kind of guest host this situation, shout out to Rob out there doing his Lion King thing, much love. Hopefully he comes back with all his limbs and all his eyes. I appreciate it. And I can't wait to do it again, man. I can't wait to do it again. So anybody that enjoyed the conversations that we had here today and liked anything that I came up with, you can find more of me at Side Projekt Podcast. Remember, that's Project with a K across everything. That's on Instagram. My episodes are very much so visual episodes that you can watch on youtube.com/Side Projekt Podcast, and videos are available on Spotify as well. A lot of people always ask me, are you sure you say that right? Yes, the videos are available on Spotify as well as available to listen wherever it is that you like to listen to podcasts. So Side Projekt Podcast, Project with a K. And I appreciate it, man.
Awesome. Thank you so much, man. This has been fun. I had a blast talking about all these topics. Like, it's been like, again, very centric of like what your podcast is about and what our podcast is about. So it was like the perfect combination, man.
Yeah, we got to figure out for D23, man. Maybe we can do a little something to figure it out. My episodes are bi-weekly, so I think that may land when I don't have an episode.
Okay.
But I was thinking, since I came and did this, it'd probably be cool to have you guys on mine for that then. You know, since we kind of just go back and forth, but we'll work out the logistics off camera. We'll
off camera. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for listening, and until next time, take care.
Thank you.